everyone. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. This is A Life Well Spent. My name is Kelly, and on this channel, I'm documenting my financial journey. It is the end of the month. It's Wednesday, July 31st, so that means it's time to do a video and show you my August budget. Okay, so we'll get into it. First off, I do what's called a zero-based budget, which means every dollar that comes into my account in the month has a job, and that is either going to be actually like physically spent, paid out in expenses, or it's going to go to savings or investing or whatever. But any at any rate, by the end of the month, like, or at least by the time I start the month, every dollar has a job. Everybody's got something to do. So, starting out with income, I was actually able to adjust my income from July. July was kind of just a guess because it's a new contract year. So I can never properly calculate how well my raises will translate into pays. And sometimes, like a couple of years ago, we ended up with 27 pays, just kind of the way that all the Fridays fell. So that threw everything off. And then I never know with like a raise, like it's going to change how much I'm putting into retirement. It's going to change then how much I get taken out in taxes and things like that. So I can never keep track of it. I just kind of wait till I get the first paycheck and adjust from there. So it looks like it will be somewhere around $3,781.50. And then $105 comes in from my mother. Now, that's basically, we share a few things. Like, she's on my cell phone plan, so that pays for her portion of it. There's a couple of streaming services that we belong to, not that many. We're actually cutting down a lot of them, and then we'll adjust again in December and kind of figure out what the appropriate number is. I've kept the same number even though we've been cutting back, because I just, like, in the back of my mind, I guess it's easier to just have the money in there in case something comes along to surprise me and I'm like, oh right, I forgot I was going to have to pay for that. Especially since some things are like monthly expenses, some things, like, I tried to pay most of our streaming services a year at a time because they're cheaper. And so, like, I wasn't renewing them, but then I wasn't really sure how much that was going to change, especially with anything we are keeping with prices going up. There are some things that I pay like 2 years out or 3 years out. So, yeah, anyway, I wanted to really be careful. So I haven't really changed how much go into my subscriptions every month and how much I get from my mother. I'll pay her back at the end of the year if I need. Anyway, $50 also goes into a brokerage fund for my niece. So I put 50 in, she puts 50 in. So that's part of the 105 she gives me. So total income, $3,886.50. Now, to my expenses, my mortgage, $688.77. That is the last month that it will. I bought my house in July, and whenever you buy a house, your closing kind of covers that first month's payment. So I bought it in July. I didn't have to pay out a mortgage payment in August because I kind of already did. So the first one was September, which means every September, if there is a change to my mortgage payment, sorry if you can hear the crows going off, by the way. I am once again outside because it is hot, but it is being nice. Anyway, that is mortgage, principal and interest. It is escrowing like my taxes and insurance. And I think it includes PMI. I'm not quite sure. I think it has to because my actual payment next month is going down and my PMI is supposed to drop off in November. So I think that they actually calculated that because my payment's dropping by like $40. But insurance definitely went up and taxes always go up. So that difference was a little bit interesting. So anyway, it's $688.77 for right now, and it'll be the last payment like that. Electric, $58.96. I'm pretty stoked with that because it could have been a lot worse. It has been bonkers hot here, and I don't have air conditioning. I have like one window unit in my bedroom, and it would have been running constantly because it has been so stinking hot. Now, it really helped a lot that I spent the first 2 weeks of the month not in my house. It would probably be double that at least if I had been in my house the whole time. Natural gas, 21.15. Again, not really using my stove for much of anything, like occasionally boiling a pot of water or something. The rest of that, I think, is really just probably a baseline minimal usage, and it's keeping the pilot light going on my furnace. Sewer, $63. It's a flat rate. Water, I have set at $30 because, again, I'm watering plants and things like that, so I sort of expect because it has been so hot and it has been so dry, like I have had to water a lot. So I'm anticipating that will be, I don't think it'll be quite $30. I'm just trying to aim high. It's usually around like 25 and change if it's over 17. If it's over my, I always joke and say that that's a flat rate for my water. And it really is just because I almost never use like the minimal usage. So basically, like if I shut the water off coming into my house and I like just went traveling for the entire month, I would still have to pay like 18.97 or 98 or whatever it is, no matter how much I use. But then that buys me a certain amount of usage. So anyway, I think with all the watering, I'm going to be over. Just don't expect necessarily to be over by like a ton. Garbage, it's a garbage month. I pay garbage out quarterly, so that's $42. Internet is $58. I can read. Cell phone, I'm actually going to have to up this. I just realized. So it is, I had to change it to the 10 gigs for 65. So I'm going to make this 75 with the taxes and stuff. We've just been using our phones a lot, and we've been using, just traveling with my niece and stuff like that. Like we've been on our data a lot. So I definitely went over. So yep, I'll have to make that adjustment. Groceries I have down as $300. Life insurance, I do also pay that out quarterly. So I expect that will be taken out in August. Gas for my car, $200. We'll see. Not a ton of traveling to do in August, but we'll see if that lasts. There's a couple of hikes and some places I'd like to go kayaking and things like that, which is going to be, gas in the car and all that. House and garden, I actually bumped this. This is normally $25. I bumped it to $225 because my toaster oven has to be thrown out. I was making toast about a week ago, and I smelled this like burning plastic electrical fire smell. And I was like, what is this? What is this? What is this? And yeah, it was the toaster oven. Now the toaster oven, my parents gave me, it was in their motorhome way back in the day. So, I mean, it's probably every bit of 15 years old. So yeah, kind of time to go. So, I mean, it might be perfectly fine. I do not care. I'm not risking a house fire. So I'm getting rid of it. And I had been kind of hemming and hawing about what to do. I had an old toaster, like that was a cheap toaster, and it was okay, but I make a lot of my own bread and stuff like that. And so my bread doesn't necessarily fit into the toaster, just kind of like a standard toaster. So I had been debating on what to do, and I really don't have a lot of counter space, just in general, but also with whatever's left. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, like, I definitely want a toaster oven again because I really like, especially in the summertime, being able to like heat up something that's not going to use like my whole house, or not going to use my oven and warm up my whole house. Um, so I wanted something about the size of a toaster oven. And then I was kind of debating, like, did it make sense to just buy another toaster oven, or should I do something else? And I think I'm going to go and I think I'm finally going to bite the bullet and buy an air fryer. It's like a 9-in-1. I'm going to get it at Sam's. I'm actually going to buy it through Rakuten, and I can get some cash back on it. And it's about $119 right now. There's like a $30 rebate on it. So I think I'm going to do that. I just realized I can't add. So that should be one. We'll make it 150, not 225. Oh, hang on. Helicopter. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but probably not. It's a little far away. But there's a helicopter, if that's what you hear. So anyway, yeah, so I'm going to do that and just deal with it. I think I will get a lot of use out of it. I've really been resisting buying an air fryer because I think they're amazing. I think they're so amazing. However, the thing that prevents me from like buying tater tots and buying like frozen crinkle cut French fries and things like that is the fact that they're really hard to make at home. They're just nowhere near as good in the oven. But when you put them in an air fryer, is really good. So like I don't need help eating terribly. But I think it'll just be a great thing for me to have. And I will get a lot of use out of it. So these crows are going a little nuts over here. Restaurant, $75. Considering upping that, but I just don't really know that. Normally I do up it in August because it's in service and things like that. And we get to like go out for lunch and all that jazz. But I just don't even know that I'm going to have the opportunity to go out to eat. So I think I'll leave it as is and go from there. Fitness, $41.85. That is access to the gym. I lied. I'm going to change that to $100 because I'm thinking of doing of getting a personal trainer for some training. Like it's expensive for what it is, but I also like what I need is somebody who will kick my butt, somebody who will make me show up. And that really needs to be kind of a focus of my life. And I have to consider like, even this cost me $100 a month between like the sessions and the gym membership, that like, that is cheaper than surgery. All right, personal, I kept at $100. I think I'm actually just gonna drop that to 50. I don't know of anything really personal wise that I need. Miscellaneous, it's always important to have a miscellaneous category because things come up. That's my niece's brokerage account. Again, 50 from me, 50 from my mom. Then I put $70.83 into my own brokerage account. I mean, I technically own hers too, but this one is designated for me, and then $500 to my Roth IRA. And I did the brokerage account because I realized that between maxing out my HSA, maxing out my Roth IRA, I was really close to doing $1,000 a month, and that 7083 puts me at exactly $1,000 a month. So pretty excited for that. I'm not planning on buying anything on my mom's behalf. The mom stuff and work expenses, they're not really things I budget for, but it's a way for me to track in the event that I do like buy something for her, or I go on a trip and need reimbursement and stuff like that. This helps me kind of total up what I need. So total expenses, $2,640.21. And now on to my savings. Now, these are not, these numbers aren't necessarily accurate. I haven't necessarily done all of my July transactions, so pay no attention to those. As you know, if you've been watching, you know, my goal is to have all of my sinking funds set to a certain threshold. And then once I hit that threshold, if I spend something out of it, the next month pay to put it back. And then I did reach that goal and then spent some. So I'm still putting some back at this point. But I also have basically, once I did that, I would move on to my main goal of like the rest of the money goes into my emergency fund. I have about $15,000 in there right now. I am trying to get to $20,000. That's my goal. And then I'll start in another savings goal. I am super hopeful that I can get there in December. I have another 3-pay month coming up. And if I had nothing else to do with that money, I mean, my check is about $1,900. So I could, pretty significant chunk could go right there, but we'll see. Anyway, so at this point, I actually gotta take that out. So, cause I've made some adjustments. So I have down here, this will total up how much money I have remaining to budget. And so it was zero, but then I made some changes up in the expenses. So $965.29 going to the emergency fund. Subscriptions, $155. And again, I really don't actually need that amount there. I'm not entirely sure how much I am going to need. So once I get through the year, everything will be canceled that is going to be canceled or renewed or whatever. And then I can actually like make adjustments. Like my mom and I got rid of SiriusXM, we got rid of Netflix, we got rid of Hulu, we got rid of Peacock, and oh, look at you. That was one of those little carpenter bees that's making his way through my door, and I just saw him. Hey, get out of there. I mean, like, it's fine, live your life, bees, but just don't bore into places. Thank you very much. Go away. Okay. Um, anyway, like I said, we've gotten rid of tons of things. And I should say that 155, I realize that that seems like a lot. It is not all streaming services. Some of it is other things, right? It's like my VPN, and I do like a password protector, that sort of thing. Like, so it's some of those other things. It's not just all like streaming services that we watch. House repair, nothing's going to go into that this month. But I will say, caveat here, I do have to get something fixed in my house, and it's probably going to eat up every bit of money that was going to go into my emergency fund. And possibly that entire house repair fund. We'll see. Um, I can't imagine it's a cheap fix. Nanny Lion Club, $17. I pay that out once a year. It's a $200 membership, so I do $17 a month. Giving fund, I'm going to put $50 in there. I took a lot out to do probably half. My fund, I like to keep about $1,000 in there. I took out a bunch to do some trail magic for Appalachian Trail through hikers. $59 to my car insurance. That is actually looking really high because this month I paid out every 6 months, so August and February. So coming up, I will definitely be paying that out. And I am not putting anything in any other funds this month, so that's exciting. I am down to the point where like these three kind of always get paid. Actually, I should say these four always get. I lied. This one, car insurance, Nanny Lion Club, and my subscriptions get paid every month. This one, as long as there's, as long as there's room to put something in, I will be. And then the rest is my emergency fund. So I'm pretty excited. I'm kind of glad that like I can take, $1,200 a month that I can take towards like short or long term savings, which is pretty cool. But I only ever got to that point by making sure that I had no debt, right? So I am debt free except for my mortgage. So there was probably a time when I was spending close to that, just making payments on things, and I don't have to do that now. So that's pretty exciting. Um, that alone is worth it to be debt free. And I know that that's a harder ask than it sounds for some people. I did not have a terrible amount of student loan debt. I had like a fancy Honda Civic's worth by the time I got out of grad school. And I was down to about 12 or 13,000 when I was able to get loan forgiveness. So I was really fortunate in that aspect that I didn't have a lot to begin with. And then I qualified for loan forgiveness because of my public service, which I'm thankful that that program exists. But yeah, it's putting me in a I don't even want to say a good place, because honestly, it doesn't feel like a good place. Like it's weird because I realize I am in such a better place than so many other people, so many other of my peers, and so many other people who are younger than me. Um, but I still don't feel comfortable, right? Like I think about like I don't have kids, and if I had kids, I mean that right there, what I can put away in short and long-term savings, like at least that I'd be spending on childcare, if not more, right? I might not be able to put anything away for retirement because I've got to spend it on, needs now. I couldn't fathom. I just couldn't fathom it. If I had to buy a car, right? Like, first of all, it's impossible to buy a car, even a used car these days, for like, you find a car that's $10,000 and it's like 20 years old. Well, thanks. I already have a practically 20-year-old car. That doesn't actually help me. And it's going to cost me 10 grand. So yeah, it's a struggle, right? Like if I had to go buy another car, I don't know where I'd get the money to make that payment. And I feel like I'm objectively in a good spot, right? But yeah. Yeah. I mean, even this, like, yep, okay, even if I can put $1,000 a month into a savings, that's great. But if I had to go spend $7,000-8,000 on something that had to get fixed in my house, let's say, it's going to take me a long time to save that back up. So if I Like if you sit here and go, oh, well, you have $1,000 extra, you can certainly afford to make a payment. Sure. But when I have to replenish my savings, then what? Right? Like it's rough. It's really rough. I don't know. And again, I feel like I'm in a good position. Not necessarily, no, I shouldn't say that. I feel like I'm in a better position than most, and I still feel like it's not quite good enough. Oh, sir. What is that? That thing kind of looked like a bee, like a wasp or a hornet or something, but then also kind of didn't when it flew away. That was very strange. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you are still watching, we'll see you next time, guys. This is my July budget, and you'll note, actually, I don't know if you can see the bottom of this. This is a copy of my budget because I have been doing my weekly transactions. So you would actually have a whole idea how I'm spending money yet. And that, spoiler alert. So this month I have budgeted $3,600 for income. Now our contract, I work in a public school, and our contracts work from July 1 to June 30th. So there is a raise associated with my contract this year, and I know kind of what that raise is going to be, but I'm very bad at calculating based on like, oh, how much I'm putting into retirement and how much I'm paying out to here and to this and to that to know really what my take home pays are going to be. So that will actually change for August. I do know now because it's July 19th and I've been paid once already, but I can make a better judgment off of that. So I figured, well, just to start July, considering, when I did this budget, it was the end of June and I wasn't entirely sure check wise how that was going to shake out. I just stuck with the 3,600. So that's what I have, 3,600 and $105 from my mom. Those of you who have been watching my videos, you know that my mom pays money towards certain things that we share, like we each put $50 into a brokerage account. We share some subscriptions still, and we share cell phone service. So what she pays me goes towards that. So total income $3,705. Mortgage $688.77. That's my interest, my principal, my insurance, taxes, PMI, all that stuff. My electric bill is $39.89, mostly because of the aforementioned no air conditioning. I do have a window air conditioning unit that I keep in my bedroom because I can't, it's too hot to sleep upstairs. And so I just I needed to do it else I couldn't fall asleep. Before I started working year round, when I was just on a teaching contract, it wasn't really a big deal to me. I would just stay up till midnight when it finally cooled off enough to be able to sleep with just a fan. And then I could just sleep in, not a big deal. But now I actually work in the summer, so I really can't do any sleeping in. I can't be going to sleep at midnight and waking up at 5. It's just not going to happen. So I mean, I guess it can, but it's not very good, not very healthy. So I broke down and I got a air conditioner. What I usually have it do, I have it set to turn on at 7 and run from 7 to 9 to cool the room off. And I keep the door shut, so it's nice and cold when I get in there. And then really pretty much by about 9, it shuts off and it does kind of like an eco thing, and it'll only kick back on if it gets a certain temperature. But I held off as long as I possibly could. And then I wasn't even here the last week of June because I was traveling. So that helped a lot. I was not here in the first 2 weeks of July when it was really, really awful, miserable. I was staying at my mom's. So that's going to help for July or my July bill when it comes in, because boy, I tell you what, not being in my house for 3 weeks has probably saved me a ton on electricity just because it would have been bad. Sewer, $63. It's a flat rate. Water, I put at $30, mostly because I've been watering a lot of stuff. And I'm just kind of expecting that that's going to be a lot higher, because it has been so stinking dry and I've had to use a lot of water. I think I've said this before in videos. I really don't know what my water usage is. If you told me I had, my flat rate, I always say it's a flat rate. I pay $18.98, because I get a minimum amount of usage that I pay that for, no matter if I use some of it or none of it or all of it. And I don't know what it is, but like let's say it's 1,000 gallons. Like I could not tell you, I couldn't judge or could not gauge like, oh yeah, this is about 1,000 gallons. Like I have no concept of that whatsoever. So we're aiming high and hoping we'll be under. Internet $58. Cell phone. I put my cell phone at $100 for the month of July because I do know that like in June with some of my travel, first of all, I went to Montreal, so then I had to pay for, well, I didn't have to, but it was kind of stupid not to, so I did. Um, I had to pay for an international data plan, pretty much just to kind of help like with navigating, with just communicating, figure out where we were, stuff like that. And it was like $5 a day or something. So I had added that to it. And then I had to up the data that we were using that month because we had done a lot of travel. And then we also like went out to, out towards Erie to pick up my niece. So it was just, I knew that I was going to have to up it. So I did. Groceries, $300. Life insurance, it's not a life insurance month, so there's nothing there. Gas, I have budgeted $200. House and garden, 25. I've lately been not really spending much there at all, but we'll see. Restaurant, $75. Fitness, $40.72, which I think I have under budgeted because I'm positive I have. I know that it is now costing more, but I didn't realize that in June, so that's what was budgeted, and I'll be over that. Personal, I have budgeted $100 because I knew we were going to be doing some like travel and some fun stuff with my niece. Miscellaneous, $100, kind of for the same reason. My niece's brokerage, $100. That's 50 from me, 50 from my mom. My brokerage is $70.83, which does not seem like a lot. I do realize. I just realized at some point, like February or March of this year, that with the increases in IRS limits for HSAs and Roth IRAs, if I totaled up the amount of money, I maxed them both out. And in order to do that, or when I total up like what that actually comes to for a month, I'm almost at $1,000 a month. So I was like, all right, you know what? Let me do another $70.83. And I know that like I'm able to put away in some way, shape, or form $1,000 a month for future needs, right? Roth IRA, HSA, or really, well, I guess I could technically use my HSA whenever I feel like it, but I don't. I'm putting that away and you know, and I am intending to use that as a retirement account. I am saving all of my receipts anytime I spend out anything for medical. I actually do really need to do some research. Maybe that'll be my August goal. I really need to do some research and find out what things can count towards that. Things that I would have paid out of pocket. I know I did some fertility stuff that definitely, some of it I paid out of pocket, some of it may not count, but if I can do that and I can save those receipts, because I definitely was on an HSA at that point. So I need to really kind of go back through and look at some of those things, because if I can save those receipts and I paid out of pocket, then I will be able to reimburse myself in the future. And then I won't owe taxes on that bit of money once I get to the age when I want to be able to tap into that. Otherwise, I just kind of want to let this thing grow. And I'm pretty excited by what's in there now. So anyway, that's the goal. So the additional savings to get me at 1,000, like she plugging along, but you know, I would put more in there if I had other savings goals already met, right? I said earlier in the year, I have a savings goal of I'd like to have $20,000 in my emergency fund. And once I hit that, which I will hopefully hit in January, I'll be very, very, very close to getting it, or not in January, in December. If not, I should definitely hit it there by January, unless I change. Well, no, I just realized something. I might not. I have to finally fix something in my kitchen. I need to replace the ceiling in my kitchen, and I don't know how much that's going to really cost me. So that's going to cut into what's in my emergency fund. That's the problem with my emergency fund, and why I haven't been able to get it back up to where I wanted it. Just every time I feel like I make any kind of progress, this is an old house, and I have had to, like, I've replaced the hot water heater, I've replaced the furnace. I had to do a whatchamacallit, sump pump system in my basement because the basement kept getting water. So like I've probably put $15,000 or $20,000 into this house, and now I'm gonna have to do more because I need to replace the ceiling. It's drop ceiling and I hate it, but I think that's probably going to be what I have to replace it with. I don't know. I'm going to get some quotes and see if drywall is cheaper than drop ceiling. I kind of don't think so, but we'll see. I'd prefer drywall. That would be much nicer. But anyway, we'll have to see. That's probably going to be a couple thousand. So that will cut into that, which probably will mean that I won't get to my goal. Anyway, not a big deal. If I should probably then get there by like the end of the first quarter next year. And if I can do that, awesome. The next thing I need to save up for is a car, because I love my car. I will drive it till the wheels fall off of it. But if the wheels fall off of it in the next couple of years, then I will not have enough money to buy another car. And so I need to definitely try to save up money. So I'd like to have about $20,000 that I can buy a used car in kind of that range. So that's basically my savings focuses for now. And then once the emergency fund's met, once the car fund is met, then I can start putting more money into that brokerage account. So it's only going to be a little bit for now, and that's just the reality. $500 to my Roth IRA. Pretty excited about that consistently. Now this month, I decided I wasn't putting everything back into the travel fund all at once, because I spent some out from my trip to Montreal. So just going a little bit at a time. We're going to go $100 at a time. So I have $100 scheduled to go into there. I have $10.60 to go back into my gift fund to put it back up to $600, which I said this at one point in one of my earlier videos. My goal was to get my sinking funds to a certain number. And then as I spent out of that, like, then I would replace it in the next month, or work towards replacing it in the next month. And kind of got them all there last month, except the travel one. And then I did at the very beginning of the month, like, put the travel in there, but then took a trip, so it took more money out of it. So it's not back to where it needs to be. $155 a month. I put that into my subscriptions fund. I pay subscriptions out once a month, or most of them are once a year. Sorry, not once a month. So at times it has a lot of money in it, and other times it has like hardly any in it. We are canceling a lot of subscriptions. That money, that number is not going to stay the same, because we've already gotten rid of. Let me see. We got rid of Netflix. We got rid of Amazon. We got rid of Paramount Plus. We got rid of Hulu. There's a bunch of others we're going to be getting rid of, and so we're at the point where, like, I'm not entirely sure what it's going to shake out money wise. I'll have to take a look at it in December, and then we'll adjust from there. But that also covers, it's not just streaming services, it's my like VPN. I do a backup service on my computer, like cloud storage and whatnot. So like it's a combination of things. It's not all just like streaming services and things I want to watch on TV. So anyway, moving forward, I'm going to do that for the year. And then I might actually just kind of see whatever I put in there at the start of January. I'll see what's in there, and then maybe see like if I can't make it the whole year with that money and not have to put anything in there. That would be kind of nice. Nittany Lion Club, it's a thing I belong to, and I just pay $200 a year. That's my yearly kind of membership fee, $17. I count that differently from subscriptions, because actually technically I'm making a donation to the Nittany Lion Club, so it's not really a fee, but it's a donation. A donation you must pay to be a member. But it is, I can write it off for whatever it's worth. Giving fund, I'm putting $50 back into that. So kind of same thing with the travel fund. I'm not putting it all back in at once, because I don't know that I really have to. The 1,000 was just kind of an arbitrary number. So I was kind of like, oh, if I do 50, 50, 50, 50, 50. And then what I might do in December is just do like a little bit more. I have another 3-pay month coming up in November. And that might be where I top off, whatever is left on these accounts, if I just do this a little bit at a time. $10.60. That's going back into my gift fund. And I already said the $100 in my travel fund, $59 to my car insurance, which will come out in August. I pay it twice a year, so August and February. And that probably actually has more in it than I need. But given that I know I will one day be buying a newer car, I'm sure my insurance will go up. So yeah, that's where we're at. Anyway, that's my July budget. I had to roll through this pretty quickly. Sorry if you hear that, because I'm outside. You're going to hear like traffic, kids playing, birds. There was a train that rolled through like kind of right before I started recording. I almost kind of wish it was actually recording when it rolled through, because I feel like that would have made a funny blooper, but whatever. Anyway, this is a zero-based budget. Like I said, it is July 19th when I'm filming this, and I have no idea when this is actually going to post. But I do a zero-based budget, so I make sure that every dollar has a place to go, whether it's savings or spending, by the beginning of the month. Because it is July 19th, I will start working on my August budget anyway. Actually, I already have, because at some point I needed to do August, and because I wanted to get September out as well, like start planning that out, because in September my mortgage payment changes, and um, based on like taxes and stuff like that. Like your mortgage payment never stays the same if you escrow taxes and all of those kind of things. So anyway, so it was going to change, and I was worried that like I'd file the letter for it and I would forget that I filed it, and I'd sit there and be like, oh, what is this supposed to be again? So I just did it quick. So I had it in my budget. Oy, 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 oy. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to do a budget or a video here soon about, kind of how I'm doing on my goals for the year. So we're kind of halfway through. So it's nice to have like a little halfway gauge. It'll be fun. So anyway, if you're still watching, thanks so much. We'll see you next time, guys. Bye.